Hey there, and my name is Joel, and welcome to my vinyl review show. I was originally just going to do vinyls on this show, but after watching Jamie's channel, Jamie Cottle on YouTube, which I'm going to link to below, he's got some really amazing reviews of sets that aren't just vinyl, they're CDs. He did some Jethro Tull runs recently. He did the Beatles White Album. He did uh, the Ramones, which has vinyl and CDs. A lot of cool stuff. Did the Doors. He did the Small Faces. A lot of cool stuff. Check him out. Does a way better job than I do. And thanks again, Jamie, for putting out good stuff. Puts stuff out about 2, 3 times a week. Always good, always awesome stuff. This show is entirely on Alice Cooper box sets. If you don't like Alice Cooper, don't watch this. If you like Alice Cooper, got an interest in Alice Cooper, this might be interesting to you. I'm going to cover his 1998 box set that he put out and a more recent one, which is called Old School. So this is the box set he put out in 1998. I went and saw the tour at Lulu's in Kitchener, which was really cool at the time. I think it was my second or third time seeing Alice Cooper. And the first time I saw Alice Cooper was for this tour. It was called Operation Rock and Roll. It was a tour he did in 1991 with Motorhead, Dangerous Toys, Metal Church, Judas Priest. And this was a significant show and a historic show at the time. For one, which isn't really related, I guess it's not historic, but Motorhead didn't appear on this Toronto tour that I went to. They couldn't get into Canada for some reason, I think. My memory's a little foggy on that. But what made this more of a historical show was that Judas Priest, it was their last show with Rob Halford for a long time, a decade or so. He came out during the show and whipped out on his motorcycle. Might have had like a minor concussion. Went on like a champ to do the rest of the show. He's doing the Painkiller album at the time. Alice was doing the Hey Stupid album at the time. Two big 90s records that were huge if you were alive back then or remember it kind of back then. And I think Rob Halford just walked off the stage and didn't talk to Judas Priest for like decades or 15 years or whatever. He's back in the band now, but the two lead guitarists are out. They bring the one on occasionally. I can't remember his name at the moment. It's funny when you do YouTube video, you just get brain fog. But this box set, it's really cool stuff. This was awesome for me. I always loved Alice Cooper, but I couldn't afford to buy all CDs back in the time. I was in university at the time, and you only have so much money, and some of his rare stuff, like even Easy Action or Produced for You on CD back then was $30, $40 because it wasn't in print. You had to get an import, and stuff like Dada and Flush the Fashion and Zipper Catches the Skin. They were 24, $26. And there's some songs you really didn't really like on there. You only like one or two songs. And this box set up until that time, which is 20 years old now, gave you some great songs that I never heard of, but they were quite enjoyable because they were hits in the 80s when I wasn't really into Alice Cooper because I was kind of too young to listen to the radio. So this one covers like the Spiders era, which was the band from kind of high school. Sorry for the glare. You're looking back at my computer screen. So it covers the Spiders, Pretty's for You, Easy Action, Killer, Love It to Death. Some people complain that you only kind of get the singles version on this, and all the tracks were remastered on here, and some people were complaining that they should have had more earlier tracks that people love, like Looney Tunes from the Schools Out album or Public Enemy #9. And because they use the single versions, you don't get the full Welcome to My Nightmare track because they wanted to cram more songs on here from the 80s that a lot of people kind of are dismissive of. But I think this set is perfect. 5 out of 5 for me because I do love Alice's 70s output with the original band, but I'm also kind of interested in the 80s stuff. You don't hear much about it. You don't hear many interviews about it. And this box set, while 20 years old, and Alice has put out several albums since, we're probably never going to see a box set of these last 20 years output of this guy, even though that stuff's kind of awesome too. So I don't know why people complain so much. I'm just happy to get what I can kind of get. And this is disc 2. It covers $1 Billion Babies to Goes to Hell. So you got Welcome to My Neighbor on there, Muscle of Love album, lots of great songs on here. Disc 3 is his kind of 80s stuff. So it's Hot Tonight, Hard Rock Summer, I Love America off of Dada. Really great song if you've never heard it. Pain is another great song. We Are Clones. I didn't realize some of these were covers. Like We Are Clones is a cover song. I never knew that. I just kind of found that out recently by listening to a podcast called Squat Cobbler where they rank Alice Cooper's albums. I'll leave a link for that below too, because it's worth checking out if you're an Alice Cooper fan. And then disc 4 is his kind of 80s, 90s output up to The Last Temptation. But there is a remix of Hands of Death with Rob Zombie. And we got Is Anyone Home, which was off of A Fistful of Alice. It was a live album with one track tacked in at the end. So there's nothing after Brutal Planet or Dragontown on this. Those you have to buy separately. And then, of course, the booklet's really cool. This booklet blew my mind in 1998. It's still fun to look through now. I'd love to have this set on vinyl with this booklet blown up. But it is a good read. Gives you a little information, full credits about all the songs, little snippet about every song. It's got some interviews, like quotes from people like Wes Craven, a few other people too. I think Johnny Rotten does the intro to this. Or John Linden. Yeah, Johnny Rotten does the intro to this. And that's impressive in itself because, Johnny Linden loves to complain. He rarely gives, like, compliments to anyone. At least in interviews that I see. He's kind of... That's why we love the guy, though. I'm not complaining about Johnny Linden. I think he's funny. So that's that. You can still buy this on Amazon. I think it runs about $50 Canadian, so that's like $35 American. Probably get it on a sale sometime. If you're interested in Alice, this is a great set. A lot of people don't have CD players anymore. I got one in my car, so I tend to throw these albums into my car and play them. And then, this is a heavier box set. It's the Alice Old School box set, which came out in, I think, 2011. I paid probably, I think, $285 for this. Or maybe $185, somewhere in there. It was a lot of money. And there's some good value in here. I don't know if I'd buy it again because I never really play this stuff that much. And they came out with another set about a year later that covered just the songs in this. It is actually a really cool box set. It's just the fact that I never really pull it out that often. It's hard to display. So it reenacts like a desk. And this is out of print now. You can't buy it now. I forget how many copies they made. I'll probably see it in the hype sticker that I saved. So we'll cover that later. But yeah, you can't buy this now unless it's used. And I think it fetches some pretty expensive prices. So this opens up like a desk and everything's inside. And I'm just going to take everything out and show it to you. So why I bought this album was for this. It's the... They got the band back together on DVD, and they interviewed everyone in a room together. And they got snippets there too about the band. A lot of the stuff is covered in Super Duper Alice Cooper, so it's not essential viewing, but it is really cool seeing Alice with the remaining original band. Glenn Buxton is missing because he passed away in 1998, I think, maybe 97. And that's unfortunate because... really cool guitars. But you got Michael Bruce, Neil Smith, Dennis Dunaway, Alice Cooper, all sitting in a room. And the production value isn't that fantastic in parts of it. It was really kind of rushed in some spots. And there wasn't really a moderator. Or there might have been. I think Bob Ezrin's in there too. But things get really interesting because everyone's always kind of fascinated with the breakup or the ending of the original band. And right when they get to that point, they kind of go, oh, Alice has to leave right now. And then I think they just finish up with Alice and then the rest of the band separate. And they just kind of gloss over the ending of the band. That's my only complaint. And I think when they just have the original band, excluding Alice, there's some they're near a generator room. So there's like this constant buzz in the background. That's what I kind of remember. I've watched this 3 or 4 times. something I'll watch every other year or so. I forgot to mention too, this set just basically covers the first 7 albums of the original bands. So, Breeze for You, Easy Action, Love It to Death, Killer, School's Out, $1 Billion Babies, and Muscle of Love. And the packaging on this is kind of phenomenal because Alice Cooper kind of got famous on his gimmicks for album packaging. Like School's Out came with the panties as a paper sleeve for the vinyl, and then the School's Out kind of fold up into a little desk. And then $1 Billion Babies had like extreme packaging as it came like a billfold wallet and had like a $1 billion bill in there. And then Muscle of Love came in like cardboard packaging. That was kind of cool. So this has a couple CDs in it. It comes in cardboard sleeves. So this one is disc 1. It's Treasures, and it's basically just demos and radio adverts for the first couple albums. And then you have Treasures 2. And then you have In Their Own Words, which I haven't listened to, but I think from what I read, it's just the DVD on CD. So you can actually buy like another version of the set, which is just these 3 CDs plus this. There's a CD of a live concert in Detroit, I believe. No, St. Louis. In St. Louis. And you get this again on vinyl in the set, so you could save like 90% of the money I spent on this just by getting this, and you pretty much get the interview, which is nothing. That's something I'm not mad of. This, I'm kind of an Alice Cooper collector. If I didn't get this, I'd probably kind of be pissed off with myself. So yeah, these 4 CDs and that DVD is what you get, and this kind of lifts out. So this top part lifts out. It's kind of hard to show you on camera without having 4 arms. And then you get the vinyl, which I'm having problems pulling out, but here we go. So you get this vinyl. Here's the hype sticker. Yeah, so yeah, this is limited edition, individually numbered. It doesn't say how many it is limited to on here. So if you do some YouTube research, you could probably find that information. They also vowed they'd never re-release this again. And in the past 7 years, they haven't. Would I be angry if they did? No. I think everyone kind of deserves to have it. There's also a gimmick where you could get a golden ticket, which you could win a VIP concert experience, which is kind of cool because those things run $700 to $1,000. So this is on black vinyl. This is actually the first vinyl I ever bought. It's kind of made out to be like a bootleg, so there's no information on here. Kind of cool at first, but then when you actually play this thing, it's kind of a pain because you just want to hear some songs sometimes. But then again, I just listen to this to hear the album, so not really complaining. It's just one of those things. When you're really new a band, you always find a reason to complain about the little things. So don't pay really too much attention to me. So that's kind of cool. And then this thing is probably the biggest value. It's like a yearbook with some interviews and some pictures, lots of rare pictures. These are all in the DVD as well, so they flash these pictures by you. And I got my book signed by Alice Cooper in 2013. So it says, Joel, your pal, Alice Cooper. And then he wrote 1-3. I went to the Toronto Comic Con to get a signature. I also got my brother a signature too. My brother is who got me into Alice Cooper. And he was 40 at the time, turning 49. But I got Alice to sign a picture. My brother didn't know about this for his 50th, but I gave it to my brother when he turned 49 because I couldn't wait. I didn't want to wait a year. So my brother's really happy to get that. He got it framed, and it's in his man cave, I guess. He doesn't really have a man cave. He's got a pool shed, which is a nice pool shed. It's like a garage. He bought my great-great-grandfather's farm, and he had a chicken coop. So my brother cleaned up this chicken coop and turned it into like a pool room. Not like a pool where you play pool, but you got the mechanical equipment for the pool. in one of the rooms, and he's got solar heating, and he calls the place the coop. So then it just makes sense you have an Alice Cooper picture in there, because Alice Cooper, right? You get the point. We're big Alice Cooper fans. And then what else you get? You get a 7-inch can't say that word, single. So this is kind of the Nas. It's on 180 gram. Like, this is heavy. So it's got Wonder Who's Loving Her Now by the Nas, and Lay Down and Die Goodbye. So this is before Alice Cooper. They had the Nas. I think they went from the Spiders to the Nas. There's the earwig somewhere in there. Really cool stuff. I haven't played that yet. And like I said, that was my first vinyl, but I never played it till this year because I didn't get a record player until this year. But I kind of consider it my first vinyl. You got your track list, which is kind of made out like a Billboard 180, 100, I don't know what's called. Like a Billboard thing you kind of see back in the day, or a radio call sheet. That comes with it. And then you get some prints in here too, which comes in a nice little folder that keeps everything organized. You get like a fake ticket. And then, speaking of fake tickets, I'm going to show you a real ticket. One of my bucket list things was to see Alice Cooper on Halloween, and I did in 2014 in Kitchener in a small theater called Center in the Square. So it's really cool. They had all the employees dress up as Alice Cooper, like with the makeup and stuff. They still had to wear their uniform, which is like a black vest on a white shirt, black pants, black shoes, but it was really cool. So yeah, you get a booklet. It's a tour program for, I think it is the Killer Tour. And then you get some 8.5 by 11 prints. So that one. I'm missing one. I have it framed. It's the Greatest Hits album cover. So if you're familiar with Alice Cooper's Greatest Hits, you'll see it. Here's like a set list. And then you get that. So this is cool. I'm a fan. Again, you know, it's one of those things you had to be around to buy at the time. Because buying it now, I think it rents for like, I've seen it used on eBay for $600 to like thousands of dollars. And they'll probably release something else. Everything Alice Cooper they release, they kind of make money off of. That ends it for the box sets. I also want to talk about this though. This is Pretties for You live in New York City. I'm going to leave a link below for this too. There's this guy, his name's Nick. He's got a great Facebook page. He redid the Pretties for You album. An album that a lot of Alice Cooper fans do not like, but some do. It was Frank Zappa kind of produced it, I think. I forget how much Frank Zappa had involvement in. I think he just kind of made some comments about it, but he put it on his label. And it's notorious for being really difficult to play. It's not very user-friendly. Michael J. Fox, oddly enough, the actor from Back to the Future and such, is such a fan of this album, though. He actually can play all the guitar parts. That's a little side note about Michael J. Fox. He, from what I heard, he went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just to meet Dennis Dunaway and told him this story. I was going to kind of verify this with Michael J. Fox this year at Comic-Con in Toronto, but to meet Michael J. Fox, it was like $200. I was like, yeah, I don't want to pay that much to just confirm that story. I'll believe Dennis Dunaway, who I heard that from. I'm fine with that. I was just a big Michael J. Fox fan because I grew up with Back to the Future and Family Ties. And he's Canadian, I'm Canadian, so I wanted to pay a little less to meet the guy. That's all I'm saying. So this is cool. It actually has Dennis Dunaway and Neil Smith make an appearance on a couple of the songs. You can order this. I think it's like $20 off the website. I got a nice little comment when I got it saying thanks. Really cool stuff. And Dennis Dunaway recently did a Kickstarter with, I think, Nick from this. And they're releasing a video with Alice Cooper's daughter as the star in the video. There was a Kickstarter for it. I wanted to get something. I wanted to get the 7-inch of the song Dennis Dunaway is releasing signed. So just for the 7-inch alone, it was $25 American, which is fine because you're promoting the cost of this video. but when I factored in to get it signed, it's another $25, which I'd be fine with. But then shipping was $20. This is all American prices. American is, you gotta multiply everything in Canadian by $1.25. So we're up to $75. That brings me to $100 for a 7-inch. Kind of a lot of money. Plus I might have to pay duties on it. Plus I've been getting things lost in the mail with Canada Post recently. And it could end up costing me $125 for not getting anything when I factor in like my credit card charges me for the exchange rate and everything too. So I didn't get it. But I do have Dennis Dunaway's books that he released, and I got that signed. I wanted to get my Old School book signed by him that I have Alice Cooper signing for. Dennis Dunaway plays in a band called Blue Coupe. Blue Coupe came with a little bookmark too by Strand, which does these signed versions. I wanted to get, my Old School signed. He's playing with Blue Coupe, which is Blue Oyster Cult, 2 people from that, and Dennis Dunaway, but they canceled a show in my city of Hamilton last minute. Not last minute, like 2 weeks before, and it's because Dennis Dunaway was reforming with Alice Cooper and the original crew for, I think it's called the AstroTurf. There's a Black Friday vinyl coming out called Alice Cooper Live at the AstroTurf or Astrodome. I think that's the concert Dennis had to skip for, so I never got a chance to meet Dennis, unfortunately. But this book I highly recommend. Alice has his own biography. I like this one a little bit better because Dennis has a really good memory. Even if you don't like Alice Cooper, there's some good history lessons on Jimi Hendrix, because these guys hung out with Jimi Hendrix. They consider him their mentors. Some good Jim Morrison songs in here. There's good Pink Floyd stories in here. A lot of history in here. There's one story, I think it's, they were playing a bar called the Cheetah. Alice Cooper just came out. I think it was the Cheetah. Might have been another bar, famous bar. And the headlining act with them was Led Zeppelin, and Alice is like, oh, I know Jimmy Page from the Yardbirds. I think it was the Yardbirds. Might have been another band. I can't remember right now. Like I said, brain fog when the camera turns on. And Alice is like, oh, I know who you are. I'm going to open for you. And then Led Zeppelin opened for them the next night. And then they did tours with Pink Floyd, and they have a lot of stories about Pink Floyd stuff. And he's got stories about meeting Salvador Dali. It's just a really cool book. Fully recommend it. It came out on paperback recently. You can buy it 21 Canadian, so it's like $15 probably American. If you're an Alice Cooper fan, I get it. I recommend it. It's a good read. And then finally, I have just things to show off. I'm showing things off mostly myself. In case I ever have a fire, I can actually look back on this stuff, because I always worry about fires. I don't know why. Just losing all your stuff. I kind of got away from collecting stuff because I was like, I'm just going to start buying things that won't melt or burn in a fire. And now I'm just buying stuff to fill my house up with. I recently bought a house, like I said, and I got a lot of empty rooms, so it's nice to fill it up with stuff. This is The Last Temptation. I don't know if you can still buy this on Amazon, but I did, and it came signed, pre-signed by Alice Cooper, Neil Gaiman, and Michael Zulli. He was the artist. Neil Gaiman's the writer. Neil Gaiman's my favorite writer, next to Stephen King, and Alice Cooper's my favorite band. So it's really cool for me to get this, like my favorite author, my favorite singer, and they did a comic book together in the 90s for The Last Temptation album. Pretty good comic. This one's, I have the originals, and I have a black and white trade, and then they have this. This came out 3 years ago. This is really cool too. Again, I just wanted to cover some things. I'm going to do more Alice Cooper in the future, probably his albums. But this is just some rare stuff, you might want to pick up if you're a casual fan, or you're just getting into Alice, or you just may not have been aware of. So yeah, that's my Alice Cooper spiel. Thank you for watching. Again, check out Jamie's video. Pretty awesome. And I'm going to try and release a video every Saturday. So, if you're just kind of interested, I'm mostly interested into, like I said, I'm just starting my vinyl collection. So if you're just starting your vinyl collection, or just kind of recently getting into vinyl again, because it is a trend, if you're doing videos, send me a link so I can watch your stuff too. Awesome. So take care. Bye-bye.